Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Game 200, Indians at Blue Jays. Welcome back, baseball fans, the 1972-75 Carryover League. We've got a series in the American League today between Toronto and Cleveland. A game in Toronto. Briefly, the Blue Jays last year were Cinderella, miraculously made the playoffs as a wild card team and almost upset the Oakland A's in those playoffs, leading them 2 games 2-0 on the road. It was stunning. But then they lost their last 3. And after an off season, it seems like reality is kind of setting in. Cleveland, well, they were the ones who just missed the playoffs a year ago, and they think their fortunes are on the upswing as the Tigers, division winners a year ago in the American League North, are stumbling this year. So let's see what's happened in this series. It's been very curious. Game 1, we open up in Cleveland for the first 2 games. Toronto sends Carl Morton out there. Cleveland responds with Dick Tidrow. And in this one, interesting start, you had a couple doubles in the first inning by Boog Powell, RBI. And then in the 3rd inning, this gets tricky here. You get a hit out, walk, bases loaded, 2 outs, fly ball to right X, and Charlie Spikes. Actually, it was to center fielder. That's what happened. That's right. Yeah. So Vada Pinson, the starting center fielder, got injured in his at-bat in the 2nd inning, had to leave. So all he had to bring in to play center field was Cesar Tovar, who's getting up there, and he's a 4.16. So with 2 outs, that became a single ... and then was followed up by a 3-run homer. So 5 runs off of initiated by the defensive lapse with 2 outs. And that really irked Dick Tidrow, who is now, he and the Indians are now down 5-1. But the Indians rally in the middle innings off of Carl Morton and the bullpen. You get a 2-run homer by Charlie Spikes. You get a 2-run homer by Lowenstein there. And they get 8 runs in these middle innings, and a 5-1 deficit turns to a 9-5 lead for the Cleveland Indians, and that's how it finishes. Tidrow's final stat line, 8 innings, just 6 hits and 5 runs, though it could have been a shutout. But yeah, great performance for Tidrow, notwithstanding. 9-5 Cleveland win, and we're thinking, well, how I introduced this segment, that Cleveland's on the upswing and Toronto's on the downswing. Well, let's see what happens. Moving on. Game number 2. It is Jerry Rolls-Royce, oh boy, against Gaylord Perry. It all ends in the 1st inning, really. A leadoff double walk, an RBI double, an RBI ground out, and a 2-base error on Charlie Spikes. So that's 3 runs, and that's your scoring. Because Jerry Royce gave up a double in the 5th, a single in the 7th and 8th. It got interesting in the 9th when he gave up a double and a single. He's 1 batter away from point of weakness, but he strikes out Charlie Spikes, gets Frank Duffy to hit a lazy can of corn to end the game. Jerry Royce 5-hit shutout, out-dueling Gaylord Perry in a battle of complete games. And your Blue Jays, even the series. So the series will then move up north, the Great White North, for Game 3. And the Blue Jays have turned the tables. They are starting to dominate now. They win 8-1. After the Game 1 loss, Toronto has played 18 very outstanding innings. Boog Powell solo homer for Cleveland is all the Indians could do in 2 games. And the Toronto offense is starting to roll here. Just a bunch of singles. 8 runs on 15 hits. There is a homer in the 8th inning by Mike Lum, but basically they were just piling their singles up. Knocked Fritz Peterson out after 4. Roughed up the Cleveland bullpen, the underused Cleveland bullpen. And break up your Blue Jays. They start to resemble the 2023 version, at least for this series. So what does it mean overall? Very early in our season. Really, it's more about the failings of other teams, really. Here's your Tigers starting out 2-6. They're not very good. Cleveland's 6-4, losing 2 out of 3 here. The Expos are off to a hot start, so that's the most noteworthy understanding there. Boston just trampled on Baltimore, and the Yankees are having a terrible start, and the Blue Jays are hanging in there again. They're up to 4-6. So a lot of, both of these divisions are a little underwhelming. They are losing their interleague and their divisional and their cross-divisional battles so far, very early in the season. We got Cleveland and Toronto in a Game 4. Interesting moment because, Toronto would like to get a 3-1 series win so they can compete like it's last year. Like pick up where they left off a year ago with a lesser talented roster. And meanwhile, Cleveland needs to stop the bleeding. I mean, they are poised. I mean, preseason prognosticators would have said Cleveland was going to rise to the division with the Tigers falling. And that can still happen, but you got to take care of business, and they haven't been recently. They'd like to come back and win this series 3-2 in Municipal Stadium for a Game 5. Today's pitching matchup. Boy, these teams have outstanding starting rotations. As a matter of fact, another example of where, well, in this case, all but one of these pitchers can pitch on 3 days rest, and the only exception is probably the best of the lot, which is Doyle Alexander, who has a 2 ERA. Probably has a better card than Gaylord Perry's Cy Young worthy card. But anyway, let me digress here. The starting pitching is Jim Perry for Cleveland. 17-game winner in 74 with a 2.96 ERA. He joins his brother in Cleveland. And the Blue Jays sent Clyde Wright, a guy they took in the expansion draft. Originally, they took Paul Splitter away from Kansas City in the expansion draft. And then they traded him for Clyde Wright. Clyde Wright, 18-game winner. Also with a 2.98 ERA in 251 innings. Very close in talent are these two guys. One's a righty, one's a lefty. Should be fun. Teams that play hard, play tough. Have a lot on the line. Classic overachievers. The Indians and the Blue Jays. Let's get started from the Great White North. Cesar Tovar leads off. 49 is a base hit. Buddy Bell. Let's try mixing this up a little bit. Let's do a hit and run. See if they can change Cleveland's stagnant offense here. We roll a 7. The batter's got a run. He misses, swings through the pitch. 13 steal on Tovar. He's going to be an 11. 0 arm being held. He's going to be out stealing. So that's a mistake right there off the start. Buddy Bell, 4-10 now, swinging away without a runner on. Lines the short, and with 2 outs, it's Oscar Gamble. 4-10 against the lefty is Center X. AG, a 3-6 in center field, makes the catch. So that was a blown opportunity for the Indians, trying to break the schneid they're in. Toronto leading off for them is Jerry Hairston, 47, lines a third. Dan Monson, 34. Browns a short, and Ed Kranepool, 1-5. Let's take a look at Ed Kranepool's card. The latest New York Met to be exiled off that roster and going up north to Canada and finding exile there. Joining former Met Don Clendenon, who's since retired, Tommy A.G., and Cleon Jones, who are both in this game. But Kranepool had a magnificent 75, hitting .323. And also, Kranepool is a lifetime Met. So it's dubious for him to move to Toronto in my timeline, but that's what we wanted to do, to make room for John Milner at first base on the Mets. Anyway, Kranepool 1-5, homer 1-2, double, it's a 2-base hit. You got Mike Lum. 35, flies to right. Top of 2, Alex Johnson, 211, lines to third. Hey, you're Boog Powell, grounds to second. And Charlie Spikes, 2-2, rolls to short. Bottom half, it's Cleon Jones, 53, flies to right X. Porous outfield defense in Cleveland, 311. That's a double. Their options are not very good in the outfield for Cleveland. You have Lowenstein can be put in as a 3-8. You've got Oscar Gamble's a 4-8. You got Alex Johnson's designated hitter 44. So, not particularly sharp defensively in the outfield. In the infield, they're very good. Milt May, 46, pops to second. Jim Brazil, 55, second C. You got a runner at third, 2 outs for Tommy A.G. Rolls to short. And we're scoreless into the third. Frank Duffy, 6'10", third X. Brazil is a 4-18 at third base. Makes the play. Veda Pinson, 2'9", flies to right. Ray Fosse, 67, pops to first base. Bottom of the third. It's Daryl Cheney. 2-8 is a walk. Jerry's Hairtown, 64. Triple 1-8. Off the Perry card is a double to center field. Cheney, good base runner, 14. Will not take on the Pinson arm of -1 with nobody out. Best opportunity yet for the Blue Jays. Second and third, nobody out. Infield will come up. Dan Monson. 35 is a walk. Now, the visitors will keep the infield back, hoping for a double play to minimize the damage. You got the bases loaded, no outs, and it's Ed Kranepool who doubled in the first. 1-4 just misses that roll. You got right B question mark. Now you can try a sac fly with Cheney, and we will. It's a 14-15-16 with a -1 arm, and he scores on an 8. And the Blue Jays are on the board. First and second, 1 out. Mike Lum, 211, short B. Fielder's choice. Runners in the corners for Cleon Jones, 54, right B off Perry. So Perry minimizes the damage. 1-0, Cleveland. Just 1 run in their last 21 innings. Cesar Tovar, 1-5, is a base hit. Buddy Bell, last time he hit and run. This time he'll swing away. 2-7, that works out well. A base hit in the center field. Tovar, great wheels. Still very old, but he's a 16 runner still. He will stay at second. We did a risky thing in the first. It didn't work out. Let's try and see if we can just put a bunch of hits together here. First and second, nobody out. It's Oscar Gamble. 2-9 is a single dot. That was the call. Now you got the bases loaded, nobody out. Station to station for the Indians. Just like the Blue Jays, bases loaded, nobody out. All Toronto could do was get a sac fly. Cleveland wants more, and they're asking it from Alex Johnson. The Blue Jays are going to play the infield back as well. 1-10, let's take a look at this Alex Johnson card. He was actually a Texas Ranger by this point of his career. In 656 plate appearances, he gets 287. Pretty much you're one of the early designated hitters in the American League, the year that they instituted the rule, joining the likes of Ron Bloomberg and Orlando Cepeda and so forth. Good bat, never could field very well. Alex Johnson, 110, is a single to right field. Tovar scores. Bell, 14 runner, will not take on Mike Lum's arm and run himself out of the inning. So it's a 1-1 tie. Bases are still loaded, still playing back, and now you got to deal with the dangerous Boog Powell. 46, short X, need a double play. It's Daryl Cheney. He's a 3-42. It's a ground ball C. So good defensive shortstop Tim Foley is on the bench today, and that hurt right there. He most likely turns the double play. Now I got second and third with 1 out in a 2-1 game. They're going to bring the infield up. They don't want another ground ball to score a run. Charlie Spikes, 410, lines of short. And with 2 outs, it's Frank Duffy, 42, pitcher. So Clyde Wright can't quite minimize the damage the way Perry did, and it's 2-1. Milt May. 210 flies to right. Jim Brazil, 56, short X. This is Frank Duffy at 2E19. Makes the play. Much better infield than outfield defense. Tommy A.G. bounces to third. We go to the fifth. It's Vada Pinson, 39, rolls to second base. Ray Fosse, 110, rolls to short. And back up top to Tovar. 52, pops to short. Bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Okay, it'll be Darrell Chaney leading off. 68 is single 1 to 10. Gets it on a roll of a 2. Back up top to Jerry Hairston. 612 flies to right. Dan Monson, 2-9, is a 6-4-3 double play. We go to the sixth. The Blue Jays have basically sent one more batter to the plate in this one. Trail by a run. Buddy Bell leads off in the sixth for the Tribe. 36, a bouncer to third. Oscar Gamble, 211, rolls to first. Alex Johnson, 47, is a walk. Hey, your Boog Pal, 57, flies to right. Bottom of the sixth. For the Blue Jays, it'll be Ed Cranepool. 2-7, bouncer to first. Mike Lum, 1-8 is a walk. Cleon Jones, 65 off Perry. He nails the column. It's triple 1-3, single dot dot. It'll be a single dot dot. Now you got runners in the corners, 1 out. The Indians move their infield up. And your batter's Milt May. 210 is right field, B question mark. This is going to be Mike Lum, pretty decent base runner. Oh, he's a 14, a 15, a 16. You got a -1 arm out there. Dice roll of a 15 is what they need, and they get it on a 1. It's a sac fly. We have a 2-2 tie here in Toronto with 2 outs. It'll be Jim Brazil. 1-8 base hit right field, Brazil. And it'll be Tommy A.G. 1-6 is a strikeout. 2-2 affair in the top of the 7th. Charlie Spikes. 2-7's a K. Frank Duffy, 2-7, roller to short. And Vada Pinson, 55, roller to second. Game in question here in Toronto. It is 7th inning stretch time. And we've been enjoying the music of Rush. 1975, part of the timeline. We have the fly-by-night LP for you today, folks. By Tour and the Snow Dog. Of course, fly-by-night. In the end, Anthem. Great LP by Getty and Neil and Alex. And they got, fly-by-night Rush. Big Blue Jay fan is Mr. Lee. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, his Blue Jays trying to rally and get a lead here. Did you get that, Getty? Get a lead, Getty lead here. In the bottom of the 7th, it'll be Darrell Chaney leading off. 35 flies to right. Jerry's Hairtown. 36 is a walk. There's your lead run. Now you got Dan Monson. 38 short B. He's at first as a 15 runner with 2 outs for easy Ed Cranepool. And 310 is single 1 to 9. When you hit 323, they put single chances down there. Single 1 to 9. He gets it on the 6. So now you got 2 on, 2 outs. Perry's a starter 7. This is your breaking batter, and he's chasing a comeback win in this. So Perry this will be his final batter, more than likely. Mike Lum, here's the pitch. 48 He pops to short. And a tired Jim Perry, putting 5 base runners on, will leave after 7 in a 2-2 tie, hoping his team can rally and he can inherit a win in the top of the 8th. Clyde Wright's a starter 8, so he'll stick around. Be Ray Fosse. 111 for Ray is a sky to left field. Up top to Tovar, Cesar. 110 for Cesar Tovar is a hit by pitch. He's been on a couple times, 3 times today. We've had dubious attempts running, so he'll stay at first for Buddy Bell. 2-4 Buddy Bell, fielder's choice. And with 2 outs, it's Oscar Gamble. 2-3 for Gamble, rolls to third base. Clyde Wright, 1 bad inning in a 2-2 affair. And Cleveland, down 2-1 in the series, tied 2-2 on the road. Need this. Looking into their bullpen, very underused this year because the likes of Gaylord Perry's a starter 9, Tidrow and Fritz Peterson can all go deep into games. They're going to go straight to their closer, Tom Hilgendorf, who has not pitched a lot this year. He inherits the closer role that Steve Mangori once had. In 73 for the Tribe, 5-3 with a 3.14 ERA in 95 innings. He's a relief 3. He needs work. He needs to force this into extra innings or extend the outing. And they're just going to go to their best reliever they have in this event. He comes on in the 8th, and he'll face Cleon Jones. 2-5 for Cleon Jones. Let's take a look at the Cleon Jones card. A 1974. He has had an up and down early 70s, but in 74 he has his best batting average of 282 since the magical year of 69, and one of the years in 70 or 71 he was also over 300. But 74, 282, 13 home runs. Defense starts to fall a little bit. He's now a 3. Used to be a 2. 2-5 though. Homer, 1-12, double the rest, and it is gone. A solo homer for Cleon Jones in his welcome to Toronto moment. You know, this Miracle Met magic has really rolled. It's really helped these Blue Jays. You saw what they did, or you heard what they did last year. And they're trying to do it again this year, it appears. 3-2 Tribe. It'll be Milt May. 46 off Hilgendorf is single 1-6. Lines out. Brazil. 64. Short X. Duffy's a 2E19. Makes the play. And Tommy AG. 1-6 is a K. Well, can you improve the defense? Yes, you can. It will be bringing Tim Foley into play short for Hairston. Monson will be the DH. And Ted Ford can go into the outfield. And we'll put him in there as well. So we have AG in center, Ford in left now. And we go into the top of the 9th inning. Clyde Wright has a 3-2 lead. Now, their bullpen is very interesting. They used to have... Toronto had Joe Grisenda, a Washington Senator reliever with a sub-2 ERA at the height of his powers, and he was like the lone Blue Jay for the longest time to go to the All-Star game. And then he was awful. And then Cleveland actually picked up Grisenda in the offseason. He's in Cleveland's bullpen, though he's terrible. So Toronto has elevated Elias Sosa to closer role. But frankly, the Indians are much better against righties. So Clyde Wright is going back out there in the 9th. We're going to protect him from a defeat by pulling him if a guy reaches. Also, Alex Johnson, who you saw his card earlier, is much better against righties than lefties. So Clyde Wright will start the inning to the surprise of many, with Elias Sosa warmed up and ready to go at the drop of a hat. They also have a very talented Rorik Harrison in the bullpen. And if they need a lefty-lefty, it's Eddie Bain. So it'll be Alex Johnson leading off in the 9th. 35 for Alex is a fly ball left. Against a righty, it's a single 1 to 4 chance, and that would have been a 4. So that worked out for Toronto. Now you got to deal with Boog Powell. Let's take a look at the Booger. Boog Powell, former Oriole. He was part of the offseason carousel of first basemen moving all over the place. It started in Cincinnati when, believe it or not, Tony Perez went across the diamond from third base to first base, and Lee May left Cincinnati from first base. Houston said, keep going. We don't need you here. We got Bob Watson. So he continued to Baltimore. Baltimore moved Boog Powell here to Cleveland. Cleveland sent Chris Chambliss to the Yankees. And that's how the merry-go-round went. But Boog Powell, his 1975 is his best statistical season since he was the 1970 American League MVP. Plenty of power on both sides, a 297 average, 27 dingers. My goodness, a resurgence for the Booger. He will swing away. He hits more homers versus righties. So here is the pitch. 1-6 is a strikeout. And with 2 outs, it's Charlie Spikes. Let's show you Charlie's card here. Because, again, these Indians, as I said, they are better against righties, which is generally a good thing you want. And Charlie Spikes as well, you can see it. Hits right-handed pitching better here with this card. And this is Charlie's best year in 74. 271 average with 22 home runs. Just 34 walks and 100 strikeouts. Not very good, but this is Spike's best year. And he is the batter, the keystone batter here in the 9th. Clyde Wright looking for the complete game win for the Blue Jays. And here's the pitch. 1-7 for Spikes is a strikeout, and it is Clyde Wright going the distance. And it's a solo homer by Cleon Jones in the bottom of the 8th. It's the difference in the series. Your Toronto Blue Jays, after losing game 1, rip off 3 straight wins. Clyde Wright, 5 hits, 2 runs in that 4th inning. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts in his complete game. Tom Hilgendorf, tough break. First batter he sees. He grooves a fastball in the middle of the plate, and Cleon Jones takes him out. Then he settled down after that and got 3 up and 3 down, but that was enough. Jim Perry had an effective outing, no decision, 7 hits and 2 runs. Walked 4, struck out a batter. 1009, 0108, 3825. 2342, 4223. And a very disappointing outing for the Cleveland Indians, who really blew an opportunity here to kind of cement that they were going to make a playoff run and be a front runner in this campaign and see if they can hang on and make it all the way to the playoffs. But now they've settled back into the middle of the pack here in the American League with a disappointing series here. And we got to put Toronto back into the ring again. We keep wanting to bury these Blue Jays, and we just can't seem to do it. They're 5-6 now. Better than the Yankees, better than slumping Baltimore. And yeah, the stats are not going to be pretty good, but it doesn't really matter with Toronto. They're not really a stat team. They're a team that cares about winning more than stats. The Blue Jays are hitting .248. They got a magnificent .330 team ERA. They have scored 44 runs, and they've given up 50. That's typical for Toronto. Nothing statistically stands out, as you can imagine. Cleveland, they fall to 6-5, which is this is okay, of course, but they expected a little bit more. Hitting .243 with a .356 ERA. Gaylord Perry has thrown 3 complete games. He's 2-1. Hasn't gotten a lot of support. Not a lot of power for the Indians, you can imagine. Top hitter, hard to say. It's probably Buddy Bell here, hitting .317. But interestingly, this is game 200. 200 games have been played now. And the league is hitting .266 with a .398 earned run average. So, yeah, we started way above 4. As the season began, we had a couple games, double-digit output games. They're going to skew the ERA. Now we settle down a little bit, and it's suddenly dropped just a bit below 4. It should probably stay below 4 at a certain point and stay there. It could still jump back up, but they expect the league ERA to stay below 4 during this timeline, particularly with a heavy dose of 1972 players, which was kind of a down offensive year overall. So anyway, break up your Toronto Blue Jays. They defeat the Cleveland Indians 3-1. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.